Okay, so in the effort to try to diversify the content on my YouTube channel, I'm trying to, they say the best thing to do is to make your videos about things you're passionate about. And if you've perused my channel, you can see that I like music, aquariums, and the other thing I like is are plants. Something you've probably been able to tell watching any of my other videos, seeing the plants I have in the windows, and perhaps maybe one of the next videos I'll do in this series is go around and show you all the plants that I have. Today though, it's time to transplant these Nephenthes pitcher plants. They're kind of looking a little pitiful. They don't really have any traps on them. I can't remember the exact variety that these are. I've had them for a while. They don't really like the pots they're in. Those are actually succulent pots, and it just dries out too quickly. They don't stay wet long enough, and sometimes I have forgotten to water them, and they'll be bone dry, and they don't like that. So, and just to let you know, I don't have anybody sponsoring any of these videos. I'm just showing you the products that I use and the ones that have done well for me. And one of the companies that I buy from on Amazon is Garden X Decor. So I've bought a few pots. They sell pots, self-watering pots for plants, such as this one here. And they have this really neat little gauge, water gauge on here that tells you how much water's in there. As you can see, this one actually needs some, but this is actually an insert. I'm not going to pull it out. I'll show you on the small pots. And I have a larger one of these that's brown, that's actually a hanging pot that has some pothos growing in. And these are also succulent pots, but these don't require a whole lot of room, really. It's more or less moisture that they care about. As you can see, it's got this little insert and this little water gauge that goes in it, which has just got a little styrofoam ball down here, and there's a little stick, little green or blue stick that rides up on top of that little styrofoam ball. When you fill it up, the styrofoam ball causes it to rise and tells you how much water you got in there. So these are the pots we're going to go with to try to help and combat the plants from drying out. It comes with coconut fiber, and I think that's what we're going to use. I've got them planted in peat moss, ground up peat moss right now, and this is pretty much kind of the same thing. I think the pH may be a little bit different, but I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to use this Pyrex dish here to actually take them out of their current pots and transplant them in here to keep from making too much of a mess here on my countertop. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, get this out of the way, set this to the side. We're going to take one of our plants. As you can see, I like these little red pots. These particular Nephenthes, if you can see the little tendrils coming off, they have these bright red pitchers that hang off of those. And the theory behind the red pot was the red pot will match the red traps, or red pitchers. I have yet to have any traps on it, so I'm trying to give these guys a fighting chance, and hopefully they will start to produce traps before too long. It looks like they're trying. So let's go ahead and try to see if we can coax this guy out of his little, oh, look at there, he slid right out. And I did just water these, so to try and help this process just a little bit. So without disturbing the media it's planted in already, you can see this is a perfect size. I was afraid that it was going to be too small, or really too small, because these are kind of small pots. But it seems it worked out just right. So I'm going to put this guy off to the side, put a little dirt. If you're somebody that doesn't like gardening, this video is probably like watching paint dry. But if you like plants like me, you may find this interesting. You may not. I won't know till you tell me. So we're going to something I'm going to try to do, because you've got the little meter on the one side. I'm going to try to put the meter off to where the plant's not covering up, so that I can turn the pot and see it without too much trouble. So we're going to go ahead and just fill in all the little nooks and crannies. A little space that is left over with your coconut fiber. At least I think that's what this is. I don't know. But I do really like these self-watering pots. I think the having the little gauge is a wonderful idea, because I mean, unless you pick the pot up, you really don't know how much water's in it. And if you're somebody like me who is constantly walking by and looking at things, at the very least, if you have a gauge that's there, you can just at a glance look at it and go, oh, that needs water. You know, that'll really help out, keep these guys from drying out, and hopefully will help them grow a little better and in the long run. So, like I said, I've got, this is a 6-pack, so there's actually 6 of these little turquoise pots. I bought the turquoise because it matches. I've got 3 of the larger pots. I don't have uses for the other 2 just yet. I've just got that one. And then I've got the brown wicker hanging pot that the pothos is growing in front of my window over there, and I think it works very well. Now, having said all that, it is just a self-watering pot. I mean, it's not rocket science. There's really nothing that complicated about it, but just having that little meter, I think, for me, is one of the reasons that kind of persuaded me to give them a shot. And I'm glad I did, because the pots, they are attractive, and then they do their job fairly well. So let's see, let's get a little bit in here. And I don't know if you can hear the weather outside. We've actually got a hurricane that's, I think it just made landfall in New Orleans, and we're getting all the little bands of rain on the outside. If you live in the South, hurricanes are just kind of a common occurrence every year, and it's something that, if you live in it, you don't really freak out. You go, okay, all right, there's a hurricane, how bad is it going to be? The only time that we really freak out around here is if it's going to hit us dead on directly. That's really about the only time we sound the alarm around here. Other than that, we just kind of go, whatever. All right, so there's the first one. Slid down into his little base, or its little base. And it's nice and compacted, and I think it looks really well. Now you can hear that rain hitting that window. Something else you might have noticed if you watched any of my videos, I do live in a mobile home, or trailer, whatever you want to call it. It is a brand new mobile home, so it's not like I live in a 1960s piece of junk. And if you are somebody that lives in a 1960s piece of junk, do what you got to do. I'm not passing any judgment, none whatsoever, because like I said, I myself live in a trailer. But whatever suits your needs at the time is what you go with. And in my mind, anything that can help you become more of an independent person, get out on your own, to where you don't really have to rely on other people too much, is always a good thing. Pardon the grandfather clock. Some people that would bother. To me, it's music to my ears. I love that. It can be a little annoying when you're trying to record a video and you kind of get interrupted in what you're saying, kind of like what just happened. But to me, it's worth having that. To me, it's a homey kind of vibe I get from it, and that's why I have it. But anyway, back to what I was saying is that for me, being a homeowner is it's a challenge because you at that point are responsible for everything that happens, good and bad. Um, but you also have this peace of mind, obviously as long as you pay your mortgage. And thankfully, I'm in a place in life where, that I'm thankful to be in, by the way. I don't want to seem like I'm bragging or anything, but that I'm very happy to be in, where I can afford to do so. I live in the middle of nowhere. I live in the country. I live actually on a 2-acre plot of land that my grandfather left me when he passed away. And I live in the country in the middle of nowhere, which I'm so happy to be here. I lived in, I'll give you a little bit of an idea as to where I live. I live northeast of Pensacola, Florida, and I lived in Pensacola for a while. And while it's a Goldilocks city, it's not too big, it's not too small, but at the same time, it's still a city. You still got people on all sides of you. And I'm a country boy. I was born and raised. Well, I was born in Pensacola, but I was raised in the country. And it's just what I know from my childhood, and it suits me down to the ground. I really don't want to live anywhere else, if I'm honest with you. But being able to have the opportunity to move back here and fulfill a life goal of living out here on my family's property means a lot to me, and hopefully before too long I will be able to share it with you through video, obviously, my trials and tribulations and everything that I go through as being a homeowner and landowner, such as maintenance and building it up really, and turning it into a place to be comfortable in and find it, building my own little sanctuary and sharing that with you. So there you have it. Let me rinse my hand. It didn't take very long. Just sinks right there. Let me go ahead and give you a little bit closer of a look here as to what we just did. You see, these are the original little pots, nothing fancy, and then now they're in their new little homes, and I really like them. See, I've actually got them to have their own little spot up here on this shelf, which is another thing I bought on Amazon. Amazon is such a wonderful thing. It's kind of like the modern day Sears and Roebuck, what they used to be. I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to look through an old Sears and Roebuck catalog, but damn it, they had everything. You could buy everything through Sears and Roebuck. Well, that's kind of what Amazon is to us modern millennials, I suppose, is the modern day Sears and Roebuck. Well, there you have it. I think those pots look great. They look great on this little shelf. This is dragon fruit cactus. That's another project. I'm waiting for it to get a little bit bigger before I put it in its own pot. So yeah, there you go. Any questions? Any comments? Please feel free to leave them. And once again, have a good day, have a good night, have a good evening, depending on where you are in the world, and we'll see you in the next one.